A Roman gladiator could fight for hours straight, no rest, no water breaks, in 30 kilograms of armor, in front of 50,000 screaming people. A Spartan soldier trained every single day from age 7 until he was 60. Ancient Greek athletes threw a discus heavier than what Olympic athletes use today. These men had no gyms, no protein powder, no personal trainers, no machines. So how did they build bodies that made them practically superhuman? And more importantly, are they actually stronger than us? The answer might completely change how you think about fitness forever. Let's start in ancient Greece, because this is where it all began. Around 776 BC, the Greeks invented the Olympic Games. But here's what's wild. These weren't just sports competitions. They were a display of physical perfection that the entire Greek world worshipped like religion. Greek athletes trained in a place called the Palaestra, essentially the world's first gym. But instead of machines and barbells, they had something completely different. They wrestled in sand pits because sand adds instability and forces your entire body to engage. They threw the discus, some weighing over 5 kilograms. They practiced long jumps while holding stone weights in each hand called halteres, swinging them to generate momentum. But here's the part that blows everyone's mind. Greek athletes trained completely naked. No clothes, no shoes. They believed the human body in its natural state was divine, and covering it was an insult to the gods. They didn't count reps, they didn't follow programs, they trained until perfection. And the results? Sculptures from this era show muscle development that competitive bodybuilders today would envy. If Greece invented athletic training, Martin, Sparta perfected extreme conditioning.
This is Sparta!
At age 7, every Spartan boy was taken from his family and entered a system called the agoge. This wasn't a training program. This was total transformation. They were deliberately underfed, not to be cruel, but to teach their bodies to perform on nothing. They were forced to steal food for survival. And if they got caught, they were punished. Not for stealing, but for getting caught. They slept on reed beds. They cut themselves with their bare hands. They walked barefoot through every season, summer heat, winter snow, rocky terrain. Their feet became as tough as leather boots. Their physical training included running long distances daily, wrestling, javelin throwing, and something called pankration. A combination of boxing and wrestling with almost no rules. Biting was optional. By age 18, a Spartan soldier was a fighting machine. By age 30, he was a veteran warrior. They trained actively until 60. Modern military special forces, Navy SEALs, SAS, Delta Force, their training programs are modeled on Spartan principles. Sleep deprivation, hunger, cold exposure, extreme physical stress. The Spartans invented it 2,500 years ago. Now let's talk about Roman gladiators. And I promise you, almost everything you think you know about them is wrong. Archaeological analysis of gladiator bones found in Turkey revealed something shocking. Their diet was almost entirely vegetarian. Barley, beans, oats, dried fruit, barely any meat. They were called hordeari, barley men. Why? Because the high carbohydrate diet gave them energy for explosive training, and the extra body fat actually protected their muscles and organs from blade strikes. They wanted a layer of protection over their muscle. Their training facility, the Ludus Magnus, was the world's most advanced athletic complex for its time. They trained 6 hours per day, 6 days per week. Rest was mandatory and structured, not optional. They used wooden swords heavier than real ones to build strength. They practiced specific strikes thousands of times. The same movement over and over until it became automatic. Modern science calls this motor pattern reinforcement. Roman gladiator trainers called it discipline. Here's the most shocking fact. Most gladiators didn't die in the arena. Killing a trained gladiator was expensive, like destroying a Ferrari. Sponsors wanted fighters who survived and came back. The death rate was much lower than movies show. These were professional athletes. Most people focus on Greece and Rome, but ancient Egypt and Persia had their own remarkable training cultures that history barely talks about. Egyptian hieroglyphics dating back to 2000 BC show illustrations of wrestling, stick fighting, weightlifting, swimming, and rowing competitions. The pharaoh himself was expected to be the most physically powerful man in the kingdom, not just symbolically, but actually. Ramesses II, one of Egypt's greatest pharaohs, was reportedly able to draw a bow that no other man in his army could draw. This wasn't propaganda, it was a requirement of leadership. Persian warriors practiced a training method called varzesh-e-bastani, ancient Persian athletics that combined archery, horseback riding, wrestling, and weight training using tools called meals, large wooden clubs swung in circular patterns. This movement trained the shoulders, core, and grip simultaneously. Iranian wrestlers today still practice a version of this system. Some of the strongest grip athletes in the world come from this tradition. The Egyptians also used a method we now call manual labor training. The building of monuments, temples, and pyramids required workers to carry, push, lift, and move stones weighing hundreds of kilograms daily. Their bodies adapted to this load, not by choice, but their functional strength was extraordinary by necessity. Now, here's a story that will completely change how you see modern fitness science. Meet Milo of Croton, ancient Greek wrestler, six-time Olympic champion, the strongest man in the ancient world. His training method was simple, almost embarrassingly simple, yet it is the exact foundation of every modern strength training program on Earth. When Milo was a young boy, he began carrying a newborn calf on his shoulders every single day. As the calf grew heavier, Milo grew stronger. By the time the calf became a full-grown bull, Milo could carry it across the Olympic Stadium. What Milo discovered without knowing the science was progressive overload. The principle that your body only gets stronger when you consistently increase the demand placed upon it. Every single gym program today, every personal trainer, every strength coach, every sports science curriculum is built on this exact principle that a Greek wrestler discovered 2,500 years ago. He also reportedly ate 9 kilograms of meat, 9 kilograms of bread, and drank 9 liters of wine per day. We don't recommend copying that part. But here's the point. The fundamental law of building strength hasn't changed in 2,500 years. What's changed is our understanding of it, not the principle itself. So, after all of this, the real question, who is actually stronger, ancient people or modern athletes? The honest answer is, it depends what you mean by strength. For raw functional strength, the ability to carry, push, lift, and endure in real-world conditions. Ancient people almost certainly had an advantage. Their entire lives were physical, walking everywhere, building things by hand, farming, fighting. Every day was a full-body workout with no rest days for maximum specialized strength. Olympic powerlifters, strongmen competitors, elite bodybuilders, modern athletes win. Advanced programming, sports science, nutrition knowledge, supplements, and recovery technology allow us to push human limits beyond what ancient training could produce. For endurance and mental toughness, ancient soldiers and athletes likely win by a significant margin. Spartan soldiers marched 40 kilometers a day in full armor before a battle, then fought. Modern endurance athletes train for events like that. Ancient soldiers did it as a Tuesday. For physique, this is fascinating. Studies of ancient Greek and Roman sculptures and skeletal measurements suggest their muscle mass was comparable to modern natural athletes, people who train without performance-enhancing drugs. The conclusion? Ancient people were extraordinarily strong, lean, and capable by natural means. Modern people with access to science can exceed individual metrics, but as a general population, ancient warriors would absolutely dominate us. So, what can we actually learn from all of this? First, consistency over intensity. Ancient athletes didn't do 12-week programs. They trained for life, every single day. Milo didn't carry the calf for 3 months. He did it for years. Second, functional movement beats isolation exercises. Squats, carries, throws, climbs, swims, movements that use your entire body together, built the bodies of warriors. A bicep curl machine didn't exist because they didn't need it. Third, your body adapts to what you demand of it. If you sit at a desk all day, your body adapts to sitting. If you carry heavy things, climb, run, your body adapts to that. The ancient secret was simply demand more from your body every single day. Fourth, recovery was taken seriously. Gladiators had mandatory rest days. Greek athletes slept long hours. Persian warriors had structured recovery protocols. Rest wasn't laziness, it was part of the training. The ancient world built extraordinary bodies with nothing more than discipline, movement, and time. The irony? We have more knowledge, more tools, and more resources than ever. And we're the least physically active humans in history. The Spartans had a saying, "Come back with your shield or on it." It meant give everything, every time, no excuses. They didn't have a gym membership. They didn't have a fitness app. They didn't have a protein shake. They had discipline, consistency, and the understanding that the human body is capable of far more than comfort allows. So next time you feel like skipping a workout, remember that a 7-year-old Spartan boy was sleeping on reeds in the cold, learning to turn pain into strength. You have everything they didn't. The only question is, will you use it? Now here's my question for you. Which ancient civilization's training method impressed you the most? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. If you want more videos that flip everything you think you know, subscribe to YTFlicksy. Every video has a story worth knowing. I'll see you in the next one.